Hi everyone, I'm Tina. This is To the Inner Wild. Thanks for stopping by. Oh gosh, I'm starting the day later than usual because I totally forgot that I had some online mating thing, and hence why I'm in a jacket with a bikini underneath. And so today we're going to go with the Heart Path Oracle cards and then cement it with the Archangel Power Tarot cards. Coming back from our winter break, I had to recalibrate. It was for self-enrichment, and being so, we have to exercise discernment, whether we're over obligating ourselves or needing to challenge how stable our foundations are. Yeah.
This might be a little snippy and hard to follow at first, considering the state I was in the day before. The reading is referenced below for further insights.
That's what it is. Okay, so I really had a hard time digging myself out of this loop again earlier in the morning. I decided I was going to go to the beach, and I got the text. So that really only left time to get dressed and get some coffee, express myself in reliable terms.
I just noticed the bottom of the deck wanted to come out sooner. So Spirit has been giving me some mini exercises within my dailies to practice and to prove how reliable I am before clearing me for takeoff. They do this for all of us, and we don't even realize these occurrences hold heavier significance
for the group. Anyway, that was helpful. I feel a lot more awake and engaged now. That's really important when it comes down to community.
Being trustworthy to follow through, because I could have called in sick if I wanted to.
I don't really have a huge sense of community, and that's okay. I think part of that is because of circumstance in the past year or two. It's just what was required.
Sometimes Spirit does this for us because we need to be plucked out of a cycle that turned out to be a vortex of similar energies amassed within the momentum it gained. Exactly how a cyclone would appear. Or perhaps to prevent us from ruining future opportunities because we needed some quiet time to reassess everything with limited distraction.
So that was good. I was able to face reality without skirting around the issue, without letting it get to the best of me, without incurring anything but a level response. When you emerge from conflict and it's been no more than a 24-hour turn, that we are so quick to jump into the shoes of complacency, that we just want everything to be back the way it was before. Just everything be nice again. Everyone be nice again. And I feel like that's everyone for the most part. But it's a trap. And it's a very subtle form of toxic positivity, the willingness, the grasp, the reach, the extension of self in order to attain and conquer at the same time.
When we aggressively checklist our life, it becomes less about fulfillment and more about attainment. This is a combative approach, an imposing tone with a pretense to conflict. Misattitude is everywhere, including spirituality. The popular trend becomes neutral for obvious reasons. The taboo in magic is similar to the dynamic of speaking Voldemort's name, but the more we stay quiet about the subtle disconnects, the more we become siloed. Whether indifference or ignorance that fuels the silence, it still bears the same weight. The end goal, in the long run, reveals itself as short-sighted. The results flow from decay to destruction, from personal to public realms. Quarantine has challenged us to find wiggle room elsewhere, to realign ourselves beyond spiritual memes and commercialized feeds. Because society has siloed our thoughts and behaviors prior to shutdown, leaving most with an aversion to adventure. We're more inclined to accepting the obvious and welcoming the familiar. We are groomed for short-term success, leaving little to no consideration for successive generations. The mindset adopted leaves some reverting to the same equation of fending for survival. During this quiet time, I can admit to seeing the volatility and power plays manifested within my personal life. Now, in speaking of the sum, the obvious relinquishing of power, voice, and vision, traded off for a shallow gain on comfort and community. While most are oblivious to the internal, we are now seeing it manifested as an obvious defeat on the outskirts. The point is, the results of our choices aren't the ultimate conclusions. When we reclaim our power to move beyond the norm, the questionable becomes answerable. These keys form the legend as we remap our new world.
I just like the scenic route. I like the element of adventure and surprise and what can be salvaged from what seems to be a holdup or nuisance.
But when you let someone else take the wheel in your life, just because they're more comfortable with it and it makes it easier on you, then you forget how to get to places yourself. Your brain isn't really wired to think that way anymore. It no longer questions where you want to go, but hinges on where you need to be. It's letting someone else dictate when you can leave or go. And something as simple and as habitual as this veers towards more detrimental areas of life.
Surprising, but a devastating polarity. So, I didn't really expect too much from today. I just found my way through it by going with the flow, making decisions incrementally, rather than trying to grasp the whole picture before I set foot in the water, testing it out, almost like
Temperance without the trust, which is alchemically incorrect in magic.
Right? One foot in the water, one out. The hokey pokey. You put your right foot in, you put your right foot out. You put your right foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn your ish around, and that's really what it's all about. Harmonization, that balance, is a true dance. Not just within the physical realm, but in the way of thought. Your expression. So between yesterday and today, no more than, 12 hours or so have passed. And
it gets a little fragmented here, but we're talking about the perception of time and measuring it in terms of our split-second recoil versus the essential acceptance of divine timing as a moving piece and part of the process. It's broadening the perspective to our perceptions.
If we're going to reduce it down to a bottom line, an equation, the figures are an expression of incremental choices, whether they fare well or not, and limited to the here and now or heavily shape our future. And that reach is always there. It's just a matter of how many cords are attached. Yes. The more decisions you make, the more energetic cords you attach to hauling in your future. That you are creating reins to pull forward that future. Oh, we're talking about manifestation, everybody. The divine wanted to talk to you about manifestation. Okay, what's in the bottom of the deck? Let's see. Allowing success and good fortune into your life. Look how cool is that? Okay, part of a greater collective. Yeah, that's what we're really thinking about. So when we look at the microcosm of the collective, we're looking at a comprehensive view of our life. Not just a piece of the pie, the whole pie. We're even going to look at the baker. We're going to look at the people that are being served. It's looking at these snapshots of your life. Cumulative curriculum, and how that's constantly evolving from generation to generation or lifetime to lifetime. There's different levels of the microcosm and macrocosm, and it's all relative between two sets of energies, right? So when we look at this, there's a mirroring effect on the left and the right side, which implicates the concept of balance and the abundance, the rooting effect. It expresses life in a form of harmony, how we're all residing on the same plane, how abundant that is when we are able to flex our ways to create this union.
This means seeing eye to eye in reformation, co-creating a level playing field. This is inner interdependent alchemy to be emulated from spiritual to physical form.
Let's look at if there was disharmony, discord, and dissonance. When we look at the outside world or our inner plane and we recognize struggle and conflict, we want to be able to mirror it.
It's an inner dialogue that shows support, enabling mutual growth and understanding. In other words, building resonance and cohesion.
Reflecting conceptually on the other person that's dealing with this conflict. Because somewhere unlocked on a microscopic level, that means there's a hidden truth in that for us. In my life, whatever I've been repelled by, and that goes down to the color purple, that once I've approached that territory, that realm of not just the unknown, but that which conjures up distaste, we are meant to uncover that truth. 12:12 on the clock, that element of potential harmony. If disharmony exists, the polarity of that is the possibility of harmony. Yes, it exists in its own being. It's not just straight up disharmony. So when we look at karmic relationships, this occurred to me earlier today, just meditating over the purpose of my karmic relationships and how it gets a bad reputation, just as the retrogrades do. When you look at these items, they are meant to serve a greater purpose, to create unison. When I think about all the people that have done me wrong and that continue to do so, I can't take it personal. Just because I've invested X amount or the quality of X amount into that energy, into helping build up that energy, whether I'm recognized or not, energy is energy. It's not devalued just because somebody doesn't recognize it. It's energy that's not wasted. So we have to forgive ourselves in thinking that our time has been wasted. There's a lot more openness because naturally we forgive. We've let go of grudges. Any misconceptions moving forward, any reason for inhibitions, you're not labeling, you're not dooming your future or your here and now possibilities based on the internal conflict, that it's forever going to be like that. So when we enter into this world, we come into contracts and agreements, preset lessons like, I'm going to sign up for that lesson. I want to add that to my curriculum here on earth. I want to be able to experience that and learn that. And although it will be painful, that just goes along with the territory. I want to evolve. I want to learn. I'm going to go ahead and step up to the plate. And I'm going to commit myself along with, so-and-so. We're going to do this together. I'm going to elevate you as much as you're going to elevate me. Because of that, truly, I believe, I just came to this morning, is that we're all truly friends. We all have the capability of being friends. There's that upturn in the possibilities. Because if these karmic relationships are contractual and bound within divine nature, that means that we were already getting along before we set foot here. We agreed that we are going to help each other out. This is not some random lottery where there's a lack of purpose and a lack of structure in the way things play out. I think that would be something very hard for people to see who are standing knee deep in dissonance. So it reminds me of the never-ending story. Betray you. Where is it? No, that's a person that owned that horse. You see this fog? That beneath it, this confusion, this element, like almost like a veil, lies this true abundance that we're standing over it. So there's different layers to our realm. We have the rooted sense, the pentacle energy. We have this swords-like thought energy. We have the spirit, which is the element of nature in growth, right? And then we have this element of fire, passion. emerging from our cocoons, speaking our truths in unison. Yeah? And the real true expression is what lies beneath the fog. Because when you're actually there in this picture, all you can really see is the fog. What they did here was cut through a cross section to see what's lying beneath the surface. And it isn't anything scary. Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like. Okay. We have allowing success and good fortune into your life. Yay! So maybe you're undergoing a transformation like me. There's been the fog in view, almost taking a good fraction of the picture, the midpoint, the eye level, as an objective point of view, looking at that.
This might mean that our current approach is to stand above what we don't see, but almost in avoidance to what lies beneath the surface.
There's an implication of the caduceus and the healing process of togetherness, growing together, how it winds up and flows out. It comes in.
Growth potentially expressed is equally internal as it is external.
It's like reaching out externally in growth, intertwining, and then an inverted spiral. So there's introspection as well as objective understandings bind us, that intertwine us, in fact. Yeah, that you really have to work at it. We have 1B here. It's at the center of the heart, almost unifying that whole picture. That it does take work, and it's a beehive mentality. We work at this together, whether we like it or not. There's only so much growth that I can express if I keep that isolated to myself, within the complacency of my own world, in my own room, in my own car, whatever. Oh, I just noticed here, the earthworms. They aerate the ground so that the growth is exponential. This is coexisting. Anything else, angels? What would you like to say? Is this going to be a short read? Maybe that's our focal point for the day. Let's go with that. Okay. Place of knowledge and unconditional love. Unlock and release the fear. Openness of the heart. When I see bees, I see the blending of pentacles and swords energy. That you're able to manifest by the practice and discipline of the beehive mentality. Almost effortless navigation in reservation for the true energy that's invested in when you come together, when you work together. And how there's a sense of independence as well.
It's your individual approach given your divine autonomy.
When you seek out the pollen, the sense of abundance, the sense of growth on the external plane. And when you bring that home, that's exactly where you work the hardest. Dragonflies or bees or even wolves or ladybugs and earthworms may be a spirit totem for you. And it shows two keys here. You're trying one after the other. It's not making your key fit. It's trying different options to unlock the mystery, the potential, the unknown world that lies ahead.
There was also another message about the process of elimination. Once we unlock one world, it methodically drives us closer to finding the key to unlocking other worlds.
Both you and I are starting on a new adventure. We're about to. It's just some unknown realm, something that's unfamiliar. There's two Fae here. Again, swords of energy, the essence of blocking, and how we have help from the elementals or divine energy in order to balance out and negate that Two of Swords energy that's within us, so that we can unlock our heart, unlock our potential, because there is a duality. There's two hearts here. Oh, two hearts that beat as one. What is it? Stacey Q? Is that what she... I don't know. It's like the way they express it, vintage auto-tune, it comes off as codependent. But the tie into this is the effects of interdependence. Like two heads are better than one, this is a better way of putting it. Two hearts. The more you open your heart, the more you're able to see. the more you're able to respond to the energies abound because you don't have these barriers up. That there's a cosmic connectivity within your very being. These are not just polka dots, but they're connecting each other, almost like molecules. Oh man, it dropped. I got it. Thank goodness these are big cards. Look at this. This wasn't even supposed to be here. How weird. I don't even have the deck with me right now. It just... Okay, so I guess... How crazy is that? Oh my gosh. I've never got this card. The Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz is about being suspended with other energies almost taunting you. He wanted a brain.
Well, he wanted the gift to be able to think for himself.
Didn't know which direction he should go or what his purpose was. Even though he remained in this suspended position, it only led to the typecasting of his character, that because he was in this element of what he was cut out to be made, he limited his ways of thought, limited his beliefs, because he let the macrocosm dictate what his true composition was.
Not only was this detrimental to his mental health for popular vote to dictate his form, but also kept him from realizing his form of abundance.
The Scarecrow is clumsy. He's built out of straw, which is almost like the weakest material in folklore when you're co-creating. Think of the three little pigs, and the first house, the big bad wolf, was able to blow that down easily. So there's this flimsy nature within. This is a different aspect of the Hangman, because you are able to gain more enlightenment within that position, but this is needing to step out of our proposed realm and search for something golden beyond what this implies, the crops. It reminds me of a false sense of security within this built abundance before you, that you'll find a lot more and experience a lot more gratifying turn of events, reap more reward within our horizon once we approach it step by step with all the mysteries that come along path. Whereas when you stay, it's, yeah, you'll get by. Are you happy with this ensured type of success without having to work for it?
This is living a life with no surprises. There's nothing to look forward to, including your own growth, because every day is just the same as the previous. This Seven of Pentacles energy resides in the backdrop, reflecting on what isn't working in his or her field.
It would imply looking after your abundance and growth when that's someone else's sense of abundance. So maybe you're at a turning point of veering beyond that proposed happiness.
Moving along the lines of proposed happiness or engagement, we may come to parallel our commitment to the bigger picture.
When you think of an engagement, it's supposed to be something that's happy, new beginnings. This is a different sense of engagement. It's a call to action. Involve yourself.
Even if you're unclear on which way to go, because as life has it, it's about discovery with a process of elimination, or rather, process of actualization.
It's the action-oriented side of commitment. It's almost like you've stayed in one position for so long
that your muscles, including your brain, has atrophied, that your heart and soul also followed suit.
Not as gratifying when
so you're not embracing the span of opportunities as your outstretched arms would imply.
You're crucified almost within complacency. It's like, yeah, it's great and all, but this isn't helping me stand within my power. This is not who I truly am. I'm blended in with some number, some gear. I think it's finding that true sense of abundance. Unlock and release the fear. That's what we have to do when we step out of our comfort zone. Okay, I think that was good. Let's go ahead and pick one from here. Archangel Power Tarot. Oh man, gosh. I am so backed up. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. no repetition on the cards that we have picked before. Yeah, so there's about 4 or 5 cards that we're not trying to duplicate here. Angels, higher self, spirit, cosmic families. What would you like to say? Oh, and ancestors. Oh, that one hopped. Oh, that one fell. We'll get the one that fell too. 10 of Gabriel. Ask your angels for helpful people who lighten your load. Working too many hours, trying too hard to please others. Oh, 10 of Gabriel, that's 10 of Wands. Yep. Oh, 2 fell on the floor. Maybe you're overcommitted to one particular thing or to a variety of things. And some of that needs to be whittled down. You know, Gabriel is about communication. And I hold pretty high resonance with Gabriel, and depicted as she here. Helps me find the words, helps me find a way to let my speech pattern become more in unison with my truth. And I've noticed that in editing, there's a lot of hesitancy, like tripping up on my feet at times. Almost like a snowball effect.
Now recall how we talked about one relationship leads into another, and how toxicity can affect your response to the world. Pertaining to giving up your seat of power, when you take a subordinate approach to relationships for culture or comfort, you end up assuming inferiority. You get treated like such. When it comes to public persona, the recovery in progress conveys the aftermath. It's feeling rushed to deliver something like you're the creator, but also a nuisance for something to come into fruition, when in fact we only have so much control, and that which is forced is born in anxiety, with less fluency and movement with uncertainty. You can see this in the way the scarecrow walks, his atrophy bound with uncertainty.
You trip from the top, you're going to carry momentum when you tumble down. So I think it's being able to slow down, I feel like.
There's been some opinions thrown around energetically about how I handle my projects, that I sit too long on them, when all psychics know that energy is not confined to time. So when you receive something, it is precisely when the universe intends on it. When I realized this, I was able to shrug off these worries of opinions, enabling me to trust more in the flow of the universe, because art is still art, regardless of what opinion is made of it. It's the whole, are we there yet mentality of the backseat driver versus the, we'll get there when we get there of the actual driver.
It's an element of valuing yourself. All other choices that you make will follow suit. Yeah. And it's not even comparing that you're like even equivalent to others. It's just identifying with your worth. Period. That's it. There's no human construct that can bind you once you get to that realm.
This draws back to an emergence from toxic relationships that only allowed for so much room to speak. When you have to fight for a platform, it gives one a feeling of being rushed from private to public forum. In this reality, drawbacks become setbacks, withdrawal becomes withholding, exclusion becomes seclusion. The battle becomes a war, and the publicly wounded tends to wound in private. The stench and the fog grow thicker. The coping mechanisms create crutches, and the complacency derived from convenience becomes conflicting. What is truly visible can no longer be ignored. What is not visible can no longer be feared.
That your life is not reduced down to the mechanics of a checklist. Something like that. Okay, next. Oh, we have 10 of Michael. The situation has ended and you are finally free. New opportunities for happiness will now flow. Put the past behind you. The 10 of Swords. Wow. These are the most brutal 10s, I think. The polarities of 10. And it's not absolute in its element of strife, but it's acknowledging that it's there so that you can scale that mountain. If you can't move it, you can scale it. Sometimes you feel like you're a lone wolf. That shouldn't keep you from moving with grace. Yeah, put the past behind you. Put the past behind you, Tina. Put it behind you! Look out! Look behind you! That's kind of what it's like. Watch your back! Okay. Next we have 4 of Ariel. When you give, you also receive. Being resistant to change. Extremes in how you save or spend money. So this is the management of your abundance. That it's not just in the building, but protecting. The discerning of how you value yourself. Knowing your worth, okay? When we bleed that out into, siphon that out into the Pentacles energy and grounding that, how do we depict ourselves through our investments, our external investments, not just energetic, but within that grounded manifestation, harvesting our abundance? It's really asking us to become more responsible, even within the discerning of our frivolities. Because 4 energy is like the Emperor energy, the idea of foundations and stability. And how can one maintain that within the seat of power to the higher level of wealth, not just the attainment? How do we say it? I think I kind of lost it. It's all right. Okay. It's creating the discipline. Yes, okay. So talking about investments of our frivolities, that there's a fine line where we tread. It's when we work hard, we don't always have to play hard. That there's almost like a threshold of entitlement, and how that really does impact. Just because we work for something doesn't entitle us to being irresponsible. Yeah. When we're trying to expand our horizon, the natural retraction that's hidden is how we handle our abundance. I know I need this. I spend money that I don't even have. That's my confession. Nothing to be proud of, but it is a fault of mine. The thing that's holding me back is the grasp of my past self. That sometimes my view can be so short-sighted that I behave in such manners that make choices that revolve around that perspective. The perspective is completely out of like the agenda. It's an obstacle, yes? We have 2 in a row of the 10s. Let me see, I feel like there's one more. Yeah. Spirit understands. The divine understands. The messages that they send you isn't to scold you. That they do understand that the learning process involves a star quality. It's not just the hope of things getting better.
It's about being your own guiding light or sense of hope, being your most brilliant self, and to come out shining and claiming your sovereignty in the seat of power.
You facilitate the learning process. Oh, okay, sun fell on the floor, but this is the one that turned up. It's the sun. I wanted to say star, but that's just straight up hope. So, say that star quality within you. You have the power to create a brand new day, regardless of how many hours have passed. Life is wonderful. Thrive through your power of positive thinking and inspiring success. Yeah, that you hold that seat. Unicorn, that's your familiar. That which recognizes you the most. And that unicorn also has a dark side to it. You see it? It's hidden, but it's there. You're not trying to hide it. It's that after these bouts of suppression and oppression, it doesn't really bind us. We bind ourselves. Or we free ourselves. That's where I think they wanted to go. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Who made an appearance? Archangel Uriel, Ariel, Michael, and Gabriel. Yay! Very nice. Okay. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining the angels. Add a little something to your day to help guide us in the right direction, whether that might be new news to you, whatever you've heard here, or reaffirming to what you've already learned along the way. Whatever the case, it's meant to provide some support to your journey. I work on words of affirmation. Oh shoot, I forgot these 4. Curiosity, what's here? 8 of Gabriel. Important communication. Yes, things are moving quickly. Congratulations, you have shown the universe that you are resilient and capable and reliable enough to move up to the next level. Opportunities will be presented to you. So, remain open. Keep that heart open, regardless of its previous experiences. The world is magical. If you close that door, draw those shades, you're not going to be able to see it. But it's happening. So, thanks for joining me. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. If you want to hit the like button. Many thanks to you subscribers, viewers, energy exchangers. And that's all for the positive. Bye.